Get some analysis on what this could mean with the criminal law expert. Always a pleasure, William Booth. Good to speak to you. So when you ignore a ruling by the Apex Court, the Constitutional Court in this case, I don't imagine they look on that too lightly, do they?
Good morning, Gareth. Yes, absolutely. So if one goes back a little bit in time, you'll recall that Mr. Zuma challenged in the hearing and indicated that Judge Zondo should recuse himself. That aspect was then dealt with by the Constitutional Court, and they, in fact, held that he should appear, that is, Mr. Zuma should appear, and that he should comply with the summons to appear and also to file certain affidavits. Now, he has refused to do that. What the lawyers on behalf of the Commission then did, they approached the Constitutional Court and argued that because he was in contempt of their order, that is the Constitutional Court's order, that he should be convicted of contempt of court. Now, it's interesting to note that in these applications with regard to the contempt issues, Mr. Zuma hasn't either appeared himself, filed any documents, or instructed any lawyers to appear and to argue the matter. So what has to be decided today, and there has been a bit of delay, the matter was argued some months ago. What has to be decided is whether or not Mr. Zuma is in fact in contempt of court. So I think pretty much everybody agrees that he is, because you can't just ignore an order from a court, particularly the Constitutional Court, unless you have a very valid reason. There doesn't seem to be such a reason. He hasn't challenged their ruling in court.
So what does today look like, William? Just help me understand if they make this ruling today that he is in contempt of court. There's even this call by the Commission to have the former president jailed for 2 years. Is that something that can be decided today and executed on today, or has this become another legal process that gets dragged out for the next half a decade?
Well, I think the correct approach would be, obviously, that the Constitutional Court must decide whether he is or isn't in contempt. I mean, my view is that he is clearly in contempt. He hasn't opposed any of these applications, and he hasn't provided any valid reasons why he hasn't complied with the court's order. So if he is found in contempt, the next step of the process should be the issue of sanction. So now, usually with court matters, is the sanction is dealt with separately, and the party who's going to be sanctioned should be allowed an opportunity to present evidence or argument relating to what kind of sanction should be imposed. So that is probably what is going to take place, although a directive was sent to Mr. Zuma asking him, it was a bit before the event, as it were, asking him to submit proposals should he be convicted of contempt. But the correct procedure is, I believe, you are convicted of contempt, then you're allowed an opportunity to argue what kind of sanction, what kind of sentence, as it were, should be imposed. So the Commission's lawyers have argued that he should be sent to jail for a period of 2 years. But what might actually happen is the court might say, well, we suspend the sentence on condition that you attend the Zondo Commission hearing.
And what does that now, so essentially, if that condition is met and the former president agrees to then appear before the Zondo Commission, is that essentially this court case then dead and buried? There's no reference to it. There's no way of bringing this kind of action again if the former president were to appear, or could there still be legal ramifications outside of this? Last question to you, William.
Well, Gareth, if you are convicted of contempt of court, that would pretty much amount to a conviction. But if he complies with, let's say they impose it today, they may not impose it today, they may convict him and then give him an opportunity to address it in respect of what kind of sentence to be imposed. But let's say they do impose a sentence, suspended sentence, let's say 2 years suspended for whatever period. on condition that he appears at the Commission, complies with whatever conditions are, any further conditions that may be set. If he complies with that, then that's it, as it were. But he will then have a conviction for contempt of court, which is obviously very serious, because it sends out the message there that you can ignore court orders. And I don't think that is the correct message to be sent out. I mean, you must comply with all of the orders of court, unless you challenge those orders, take it on appeal, or you have a valid reason for non-compliance.
Criminal law expert making sense of this for us. William Booth, thank you very, very much indeed. Always a pleasure to speak to William. That court case set to get underway this morning. I understand around about 10 o'clock. You can expect updates and live coverage here on eNCA.